Go.
Yeah, yeah. Good girl. So she's kind of, at first she was kind of shooting the gap.
This is Sydney. She's a 7-year-old Arab Saddlebred cross, mostly Arab. She has been with Luke before with training, but we're retraining again because she hurt her eye. She got an infection, ulcer, and then which ended up with the surgery. So it's been extremely painful for her on that one eye. And so you can see she's got a pretty mask on here that covers that eye. And so we can't use the rope halter because we have to keep the regular halter on her. The vets do not want her trotting, so that's going to be another obstacle. So there's just several obstacles with her, but she was in such pain that she did not want to get on the trailer. And she used to always trailer. Now she's just scared to death to leave. So just having major problems. She started to backing up now to where before she would go forward. Now she's backing up to get away. She can panic at times to where she can go straight up in the front. So it's touchy.
Yeah. And so your main goal is to be able to get her on the trailer so that you can get her to the doctor to help treat her eye.
Yeah. So we have to take her off site to get her back to the hospital in order for her weekly visits to the vet, the specialist. So, and she missed her last appointment because I couldn't get her loaded.
And that was last week, right? Yeah. Or a couple days ago. Just a couple days.
Last week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
hopefully we can help her get on the trailer and help you learn to get her on the trailer again.
Yeah.
And then this next appointment on Thursday, you can make that appointment.
Yeah.
And just a couple minutes ago, we didn't have to get this on film, but Sydney spooked and bolted and you fell down and she got away from you, burned your hand. So, that was a rough start. So we'll see. What we're going to do today is just for house calls with Luke, we're going to work with Sydney and get her more comfortable about getting on the trailer. She obviously she's super smart. One of the most intelligent mares that I've worked with. And I think she believes that if she gets on that trailer, she's going to have to go and, go to the doctor, which is true. It is what she's going to have to do. We're going to have to incentivize her enough to get on the trailer, help her feel relaxed enough to get on the trailer so she can get to her doctor's appointment. Yeah, and get that treated. The vet can't come here to treat that eye. No. She has to go. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to give Sydney to Sarah and let Sarah try to get her on the trailer, and we'll see what kind of issues she might be demonstrating, and then I'll help Sydney through the issues hopefully, and then help Sarah do the same thing. Back her up a little bit. So I'm going to hand her over to you. Okay. Your rope burn hand.
Whew. Okay. Are you going to actually do something?
She might just get right on.
She may. So I can never get her on just walking her.
So you said you could never get her on just walking her, and you meant that when you actually lead her in?
Yeah.
So you're trying to send her in?
Yeah.
That's usually what works the best?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go. 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 Let's walk. Walk. Go. Sometimes if I get her to just walk across it,
Yeah.
then she realizes it's okay too.
So if you can get her to walk across that ramp, that makes her more comfortable getting in. Gotcha.
Easy. Good girl.
That was pretty good.
Good girl. Go. But that one side is basically blind.
Uh-huh. Since she can't see out of that right eye, it probably makes her, that's probably why she has a harder time going left. Is that trailer's on her right side.
Go.
I didn't see. But it was funny. I'm down in the hole in my white clothes. Right. Covered in mud. I'm really like falling in the mud. Oh, no. This is another one. That was another one, yeah.
So, I would say you never force your sex activities in the You never do those two things.
Okay. Okay, I mean, I just
I'll just have you try one more time to get her on, and then I'll take over. And if you can get her on, that's great. We'll just work from that.
Go. Good girl.
That was good, stepping on that ramp. We're halfway there.
Girl.
There, she's showing some courage.
Go. Go. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. I know. Go. Go. Good girl. Go. Go. Good girl.
And this is her typical, she puts her front feet up and then you can't get her any further than that. Well,
Get halfway in,
uh-huh.
but as soon as the back feet start to touch, then she throws her head up. So, you know, then it becomes,
And you
I don't
gotta-
want to hit her head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's,
So you're kind of stuck in this position.
so you know, there's been times that I have to let her make it her decision.
Uh-huh.
There's no forcing this horse.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, I've tried harsher to where I'm really tapping and hitting her butt. You know, this to keep her off of me.
Uh-huh.
But she has to decide.
Okay.
If I push too hard or get from behind, then it's only going to make her go backwards.
That's when she shoots backwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll take your stick since this is the tools you're using.
Yep.
Okay, and you already understand the disadvantages with the tools that were given right here. The nylon halter, there's not a lot of effectiveness with it, but it's gonna, because it's attached to the eyepiece, that's what we have to use. And then you've been pretty handy with this stick, so we'll keep using this stick. And then this lead rope is probably about 8 feet long, and if she were to pull back really hard, it might be hard for me to stay with her and not have her pull this through my hand. So those are the things we're working with. Now, the nice thing about a shorter lead rope is you don't have much to deal with on the ground, getting tangled up or anything. So if we can handle her right here, that's going to be good. What I'm going to do, one of the things that I would first recommend is, let me just see if I can get her to come straight on. When you said you can't lead her on.
No, and I know you have been able to walk right on with her.
Uh-huh. So when I ask...
Disadvantage of height, and plus I'm mom.
Yeah. So I am going to add a little more pressure to her, which is probably going to make her bolt backwards a couple times. But if she does start to go backwards, what I want to do is try to maintain the pressure through my halter and go with her. Okay, what I don't want to do is, if she's not coming forward and I've got pressure on her, release that pressure. I don't want to release it until she actually actively moves forward. So I'm going to give her a little tap right there, release my pressure. As long as she is straight and checking this area out, I'm going to release my pressure. Then I'm going to ask her again, and I'm going to see if I can get her to just come on with me in here. Now, is your goal, do you shut this divider?
Yeah, I put her all the way in the front.
Okay. So I'm going to keep tapping, and I'm just tapping lightly. She doesn't need a lot, right? She doesn't need a lot of pressure for her to try to find the right answer. So there's not a heavy amount of pressure now. She starts going backwards, just go with her. She rears, I'm just gonna stick with her. Right there, now she started to come forward, take my pressure away, fall off the ramp. Now if she goes to back up here, I'm gonna keep just a light amount of pressure in the halter, but I'm not gonna pull at hardly at all because this is a low back end of the trailer and she can hit her head on that, so we'll try to avoid that. Right there. Now, because she is struggling with getting any further than this, once she gets here, I'm gonna let her check that out a little bit, but then I'm gonna back her off. I'm gonna say, hey, you don't have to get all the way on. But as soon as I back her off, now I'm gonna ask her to come back. So we're just gonna rinse and repeat that forward, backwards, forward, backwards. And every time we come forward, if she wants to have some courage and go a little further in the trailer, I'm going to let her do that. Now I'm going to back her out. See, every time I back her out, she starts losing that anxiety about getting on the trailer because she doesn't have to get on. She can just come up here as far as she wants, and then I'm going to back her back off. Right here, stick with her, stick with her, stick with her. Stick with her. A little extra pressure on her shoulder right there. Let her check it out. Now I'm going to ask her to move her hips over. So I'm really going to focus on being straight here. So if she gets sideways on me, I'm going to put some pressure on her until she gets more straight. She doesn't have to be perfectly straight. She's sideways, has those hips to move over. Hips to move over. Good girl. Let her check that out. Now if she's trying to check something else out, I'm going to bump on her. I want her facing in the trailer. If she's facing in the trailer, I'm going to give her a break. Back her off. So this is a real unique trailer loading situation because we want to try to keep it below a trot. So I can't really move her feet around like I normally do with horses. So it's just a lot of pressure, release of pressure when she's straight and moving forward. She's not perfectly straight there, but I'm going to leave her alone there because it's relatively straight. And that's kind of what you were talking about when it's on her own terms.
No, yeah, and she'll go right in. As soon as she decides she's good, she goes right on in and right up to the front.
Uh-huh. So now I'm just letting her check out everything in the trailer. She's sniffing everything. Now she's been in this trailer probably 100 times, but she's a very sensitive Arabian, very intelligent, and she just needs to check everything out again. Good girl. She found some hay up here in the front. Let her feel really good about being in here.
Once in, she typically doesn't panic or anything and bolt backwards.
So once she's inside, she doesn't panic and bolt backwards. It's just that matter of once she decides to commit to the trailer, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse and repeat this. I'm going to just back her out, ask her to come back in. Back her out, ask her to come back in. I'm going to do it a few times. Then I'm going to bring her back in, let her rest in here. Lots of repetition with this. Okay, she likes being in here. Now I'm going to back her out. Now if she struggles backing out, we'll work on that. I don't think she'll struggle with that.
She's very methodical about backing out.
So I'm going to fully back her all the way out. As soon as I get out, now I'm going to ask her to come back in. And we're just going to rinse and repeat a few times here. Back her out. That's fairly straight. Now ask her to come back in. Remember, it's important that you don't let her rest out there. Let her rest in here. If you're going to rest, let her rest when she's in here. Or if you haven't gotten in here yet, let her rest when she's at least advancing forward a little bit. The big mistake people make when they're trailer loading is maybe even they're doing this exercise and they're getting her to come in, but they get outside and then they let her rest out there. They say, good girl, and let her rest out there. But you want to say, good girl, and let her rest in here. This is the sweet spot. This is where you want her to be. So you want to make that as easy as possible for her in here. Make that feel really good to be in here. And even though I'm asking her to back out of the trailer, I'm still not going to let her rest outside the trailer. I'm going to let her rest only when she's inside. If she's out here, she's going to be moving, feeling pressure. And that's getting pretty nice, right? Pretty easy. Now she's kind of in an automatic mode right now. She's backing, going back in, backing, going back in. It's real easy for her. Now I'm going to break that pattern. First, I'm going to let her come in here and relax for a little while. Make that feel really good to her. Rub on her like she loves to be rubbed. Oh, baby. See, she's going to love going to the doctor now. Because look, she gets all these scratches. Okay, back her out.
Then it's bringing her home when she's pretty much doped up. So that's going to be another issue.
Now, I'm going to back her up some more. And I'm just going to lead her around, kind of get her out of that automated mode. And she does have a tendency to want to lead me. So, and she's not necessarily one of those horses that does very well if you just keep bumping on her. So she starts to lead me. I'm just going to change directions so that she's behind me. Whenever she starts to lead me, I'll just change directions. Okay, so she's not in that automatic mode anymore, right? So ask her hips to move over. Good girl. Let her rest in here. We'll go over this again, Sarah, in just a little bit, but one of the things I was going to mention, so let's talk about a couple of things that you were doing that because of where she's at, from her previous training experience and with she's capable of doing now, I wouldn't mess around with just having her step on the ramp and off the ramp. I would close that gap right away. Okay. So she's shooting, at first she was kind of shooting the gap. You were on the side of the trailer, but she was going over the ramp and then between you and the trailer. I would just block that off. So I'd stand right there where she can't step over the ramp. And again, we'll talk about this in a minute here, but I'm just allowing her, I accidentally tapped her with my stick. I'm allowing her to just rest here while we're talking about this. So I would block that off. I would just expect her to walk on straight from the get-go. If she doesn't walk on straight, increase your pressure with your stick. And then be ready that, yeah, if she's going to shoot backwards, just go with her. But don't release your pressure. Keep some pressure on that halter by holding the lead rope tight, but go with her. And keep your pressure with your stick. So you go with her, you're holding, your stick is moving. If you can't touch her with the stick, don't worry about it. Just keep going with her. And then as soon as she stops and starts to move forward, release your pressure. And then ask her to come forward again. As long as she feels that total, complete release of pressure after she stopped going reverse and she starts going forward and she feels the release, that's going to teach her that going forward is the key, right? And then, and don't be afraid to put a little extra pressure. I think one of the challenges people have, a few trail loading mistakes is one is letting them shoot that gap, so they think there's a way out by going between you and the trailer. And she's at a stage now, initially that's okay, but once they learn to get on the trailer, you want to close that gap off. And then not letting her rest when she's outside the trailer, only letting her rest when she's coming forward towards the trailer or into the trailer. And then putting enough pressure on her. So sometimes, because of her explosiveness and like this morning, just as we saw, she bolted from you and got away from you, it can feel a little bit intimidating to want to put extra pressure on her. You just have to build it slowly. The more trained a horseman is, the easier it is for me, for example, to put higher pressure without kind of understanding how much pressure to give and giving it quicker. But with you, you just want to build your pressure, but make sure you're building it until she starts trying to do something different. Once she starts trying to do something different, that's when you maintain your pressure right there. Don't build your pressure. If she's not finding the right answer, but she's trying to find the right answer, that's where you maintain your pressure. But you got to build your pressure to that point where she starts trying to find the answer. What you were doing is you were giving her a little pressure. She's kind of messing around. She's lipping at you. She's kind of being a little disrespectful. She wasn't really trying to find an answer. She was just kind of what I call jacking around, right? She's just kind of messing around. She's not feeling purposeful about getting in the trailer. So you're going to have to build your pressure a little bit more. Cut that spot off where she can't go through between you and the trailer. Build your pressure a little bit higher where she starts thinking, I got to do something to get out of this pressure. And then when she starts to move forward, release your pressure immediately. And I think that's going to make a huge difference. Because I think you're that close to being there with her. I think, like I was when we were at the beginning letting you load her, I thought, well, maybe you're going to get her loaded. And if I had coached you through it, maybe you would have been able to get her loaded. But I just wanted to kind of refine her loading and then talk you through it, then have you work with her. So she's feeling very good about being in here. Now, is it hard to close this with her? Or
No, I've just got it tied right now, just so.
well, meaning,
We wouldn't hit it.
yeah. So, but she doesn't panic when you start to close this?
No.
Okay. So what do you do with the lead rope once you got her in here? Do you just flip it over her?
I tie it outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just don't have them opened,
Okay.
which is probably not helping.
So maybe if you'll open that window.
Okay, honey.
So she got a little bit nervous about that, but didn't back out all the way, which is good. So you'll just put this through the window, and then you'll shut this, and then go around and tie it out there.
Yep, so I just drop it.
Usually have somebody helping you, Sarah?
No, not at all. She is actually worse if someone is behind her. That extra pressure, she does not like, because then she's worrying. She's looking
Yeah.
at the person behind.
Instead of
I'm
trying to
doing it because she knows where I'm at, she's going to pay attention to who's behind her.
Yeah. So instead of trying to find the right answer, she's scared of the pressure.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's a fine line between putting too much pressure where they're just afraid of pressure, or enough pressure where they're trying to find a way out of that pressure. There's a fine line, and that's what the horsemen try to teach us all the time to people, is that fine line in how to achieve enough pressure where they try to find the answer. So she's trying to figure it out. If she feels enough pressure where she then is trying to figure out a way out of it, then you get some real good advancement in your horsemanship and in your horse's skills. If she feels so much pressure that she just freaked out and she just wants to, she's just scared and in that fight or flight response. Now she's not using the thinking side of her brain. She's using the reactive side. And that's where your horsemanship just goes down the drain and your horse's training goes down the drain. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to be able to back her up in the trailer and then bring her back forward and back her up, bring her forward, and actually back her halfway off the trailer and bring her forward. I want her to be able to transition. I want her to be able to transition from frontwards to backwards, reverse to forward, no matter where she's at in this trailer. If I can do that, then it's going to give her a lot of confidence, and she's going to stop throwing her head up. Now this is one of the most dangerous spots to stop her right here, because if she started to move backwards and threw her head up, she's going to hit her head. Right there, that's where I have to be careful. So if she wants to come out, she almost went out, but she decided to come back forward. But I was putting light pressure on her. If I had pulled any harder, she was going to throw her head up and hit her head. So back her up. Now ask her to come forward. Good girl. These transitions from forward to reverse, forward to reverse, forward to reverse, they're so important in trailer loading that so many people neglect to do these transitions. Ask her to come back forward. Now right here, she's not coming forward, so she just kept going in reverse even though I asked her to go forward. Put a little pressure, and we'll try it again. Back her up. Good girl. Hey, she pooped outside the trailer. Okay, right there, ask her to come back in. Ask her again. Horses that are really challenged with this, I might do this 40 or 50 times. Maybe 100 times. I'm just going to keep moving back and forth until they're so comfortable. See, you don't want them to panic when they're going backwards and you suddenly ask them to go forward. That's the key to this. This will really help her stop panicking and throwing her head up when she feels forward pressure. If she can go from reverse to forward without panicking, then you got a pretty nice trailer loading horse. And her challenge right now is she's not real great about reverse, but not bad. Now what I'm trying to do when I ask her to go forward is basically use my body language and not the halter. I kind of release I still am holding the lead rope, but I'm not pulling on that lead rope. Watch this. I'm just walking forward or walking back. Now I'm pulling a little bit. She didn't follow me. Good. But I'm trying to get to the point where I can just back up and have her come forward because I'm backing up and holding the lead rope, not because I'm pulling on her head. Right here.
The ice cream cone backing method?
Yeah. This is the ice cream cone backing method. It's so important with our groundwork. That's backing your horse with you, but holding right there under the snap. This has got to be second nature to her.
Wow, that's pretty good. As long as I can keep doing it. It's like my horse, my mare, they can do all these tricks on her and I can't even help. You know.
Now, once I've got her going in and forward and backwards with me going with her, now I'm going to start asking her to actually back out of my space and back out of the trailer. And then come back in. Now with the lead rope at only 8 feet, we can't do it a lot, but we can do it a little bit. That was mostly just my body language getting her to come forward. Okay, now I'm going to back her out of my space. Now this is just for training purposes, but I have to be real careful that she doesn't slam her head up. Just back her out. Now I'm going to lean forward, ask her to come back in. Good girl. Back her out of my space. Obviously, you want to teach your horse to do this on the ground, which she knows how to do this on the ground. Okay, now lean forward before you ask her to do it in the trailer. The biggest issue with backing her out of your space is her raising her head and hitting her head. Now there, she veered off to the left, so I'm going to approach her, straighten her up with my stick, and ask her to come back on.